just take solace in the part where you can curse people better than the others. That makes you #1 in my book.
Absolutely, yeah. Moving into this one, it is Volskaya as the map pick. And I got to say, I mean, I'm a fan of Gillfrost's little suggestion there. Shaz on the Sombra. That's what we're probably going to be seeing. You know, Sombra's been the name of the game when it comes to Assault. You know, I think we're going to be seeing some big plays. Is this the map, ZP? Is this it where Gibraltar, well, Gibraltar, that's the wrong thing. Gigantti, there you go. Is this the map for them to win here on Volskaya?
If they want to bring the series back, yes, they have to bring this back by winning on Volskaya. Otherwise, the series will go to Misfits. So they don't really have much of a choice in the matter.
Right.
Their ability to lose a map and go, it's fine, well, that faded just a map ago.
But is Volskaya the map? Do you think, you know, Hanamura, would that be more suited towards them? But this was their map pick at the end of the day. You know, they did lose this. They did pick into Volskaya. I think out of all the maps, you know, there's not really one Assault map we've got available that sort of suits the playstyle of Gigantti with the tanks.
So I think for Gigantti here, they definitely have more experience in Volskaya. Volskaya has been in more map pools recently than Hanamura.
True.
So yeah. I think this is a case where they play to what they feel strong at rather than going on a whim and thinking that Misfits might actually be really terrible at Hanamura for some vague reason. This is almost certainly what they have more practice on.
Well, we'll soon see. As you can see, the city skyline there of Volskaya. Would you live in a place like Volskaya?
I live in Minnesota. Volskaya would be an upgrade in terms of being warmer. So yes, bring me to the tropical environment of Volskaya.
You have giant robots in Volskaya as well, or in Minnesota, I should say?
No, we don't have that. But we do have a team called the Vikings, which disappoints us on a regular basis.
Oh, I see. Yeah, well, I don't know these traditional American sports. These funny games you guys play over here, you know. They're just dancing, breaking it down by Zupe. That's such a good dance move as well. Oh, they're all doing it. Logix is working it.
These people dancing just remind me how little that I can actually dance. Even Winston brings shame to me.
You know, from a young age at birth, all British people are forced to learn this dance. It's called the Charleston.
Makes sense.
That's actually false. I was lying.
Can you do that for us?
Believe me, though. No,
I know nothing of your customs from your weird, strange, faraway country that
I can make you believe anything.
You miraculously speak the same language. I don't know. What is across that scary sea?
Let's talk about the comps, because we were talking about dancing for some reason. Yeah. But Zupe is on the Sombra himself. Now, this rotation by Gigantti, they're playing it slow, but they are running the dive composition. They want to be jumping on to the man himself. Zebasai will be taken down immediately. That's a really nice engagement from Gigantti. They're running this triple DPS setup that relies on quick picks and snowballing, and as a result, they're now getting better position at the point. However, Misfits slowing it down a little bit, pulling them off the point, and now buying time for the picked off person to get back in. So even though Gigantti had a window here, it might be closing as Misfits gets the EMP and they roll right in. Okay, they get the EMP off and they are going to be collecting a kill or two. Shaz does end up falling, but Misfits need to be careful. Swoosh is very weak. Zappis with the Helix Rockets. He's brought down. Zupe, this could be pretty big for them now. There's going to be no more EMP for this next fight, but Logix, he's got something to say about that. He's in the fight and he's ready for action. Logix rolling around. Lynx are trying to do much the same, but the flanking DPS of Gigantti are keeping Misfits back. 2 kills between the both of them, and now Lynx are over the top to Vic in his sights right now, and he gets him with a nice reflect. Good stuff from Gigantti, and with Logix down, that should be it. Lynx is styling on all these people right now, man. This is pretty good to see, but the point, as you mentioned, it's going to be going away of Gigantti. They do win it through basically the battle of attrition. No surprises there. You know, it's pretty rare for a team to get a full hold here on this Volskaya first point, but now we're going to see them roll out onto the second checkpoint. They've got 6.5 minutes ZP. They got a Dragon Blade, they got the Pulse Bomb, even a Tactical Visor, and the Support Ops. They've got a fair amount of stuff to work with. I would say they were loaded for bear here, but they're just loaded enough to get hit by an EMP. Zupe, we'll see what he does here from Misfits, but he is in a very good position to turn this one right back. Ooh, oh my goodness. That was actually a Pulse Bomb committed onto Lynx, and he reflected it onto the ground. That was a little bit too close for comfort. But Maniton, he does pick up the kill there onto Fraggy to initiate it in. The Nano Boost, I believe, was used as well onto a certain player. Who the heck was that used on? But Gigantti, they're losing players. They used a lot of players. There was a Nano Visor, I just realized was committed. I actually didn't get anything from it because Swoosh was there with the Primal Rage. And the problem there for Gigantti is that they invested that in, and they weren't even able to make Zupe use his EMPs. So now you're back to the Volskaya puzzle, which is how do you get EMP to be used in a way that doesn't wipe you, or how do you get a return push that gets back in before the EMP is back up? These are difficult questions for an offense, and now we'll see what Gigantti can do to mix it up and find a way. Gigantti need to be super careful with this EMP that Zupe's holding on to, because if they use the sound barrier, okay, never mind. Zupe just wants to go straight into Vic. Uses the Tactical Visor, but he gets brought down by Lynx, but not before his team have cleaned up as a result. But the point I was going to make is, when teams have the sound barrier, if you're unaware, because it's not really commonly known, but EMP actually completely negates out a sound barrier. So you need to be very careful with your usage of the sound barrier when you use it, because you can actually potentially get it completely negated, completely taken off from the EMP.
And this is where Big Goose is probably going to open with the sound barrier a little bit earlier while he knows the EMP isn't out. The EMP came out at the very end of the fight, which means that Zupe doesn't have it, and that's what you see here. They're in with the barrier, and the blade might be soon to follow.
Here we have it, Linkser, he whips out the Dragon Blade, he finds one. The self-destruct will push them off the point for the time being, just from the positioning, but they are going to be looking for a way into this map. Linkser's so weak, the Shuriken's not quite needed as the Vic finishes him off with the switch strike, and now still contesting the point to a degree, but losing Linkser is going to be throwing a wrench into these plans. Still, they're looking for more. Davin's there in the back.
Davin right now being a pain in the back line at the moment, but I'm not sure if it's enough. Misfits is re-solidifying, and that is enough. That room, a death room for Gigantti.
I would have done it as well. Like, I was looking at Davin holding the post bomb. He was staring at that room full of people, and I was like, come on, Davin, just do it. Just do it, lad. I would have done the same, but it wasn't the right play. But now they're making switches. Linkser is on the Doomfist. They're going to be opting to use this one for this next push attempt. Switching that means they're going to be at an ult disadvantage, even though Linkser did just use the Dragon Blade. But regardless of that now, if they can get an initial pick here onto the Vic, he filed quite low there. Or if they can even pick off Zupe, this could be good for them.
I think Cruz is just cringing looking at this, hoping that Zupe doesn't get taken down by a random Doomfist here, which could be a case. But no, Linkser taken down early on, not going to be finding Zupe. And instead, Zupe just drops the EMP and makes things rather easy for Misfits and throwing Gigantti off.
Yeah, classic little reset there by Gigantti.
What?
I'm not sure. Zapis just got knocked off there by off the point.
It looked like it was defying gravity. It didn't look like it was falling. It looked like it was going
It's
up.
it's an illusion, you know. Of course, guys, the fumes in the water does that to you. You know, it makes you see things. But this is Misfits now. They've got 5 ults online. They've got stuff to work with. Gigantti are working basically off fumes themselves. Big Goose is going to be having that sound barrier to utilize in this next push. But ZP, what is the win condition for Team Gigantti here? Are we expecting an eco push here? Do we need to force out some ults?
Well, a win condition for them right now would be an early pickoff period. They don't have to worry about the EMP. They have an EMP of their own, but it would be all the more sweeter if Linkser could just roll in, land a good right click here, find someone, take them out, and set the stage. But Misfits are not giving Gigantti a lot of opportunities here, but now Linkser moves and misses.
Logic's committed the pulse bomb there. He's going to get sent straight up into the air, and a rising uppercut of Linkser will finish him off, but not before the rest of his team is there to help him. Definitely putting the damage and putting in the work as they do claim a kill both onto Fraggy and Zapis with them down and out. Linkser, he realizes, you know, you just got to reset in these scenarios. You just got to force yourself back. Now, one thing to note, they forced out the sound barrier from Zeba's side. Not a bad trade at all.
Well, it came at a high price, though, because they used their EMP. And now the question is, how do they disable Misfits in such a way that they can get in, not get EMP'd themselves, and have a good assault? It's going to be really difficult for them here, especially given what Misfits are holding on to, and especially since Misfits has not been giving Gigantti good sight lines at all on their approaches.
Linkser, that's the man we're watching for now. He's got the Meteor Strike. He's looking for the opportunity. Swoosh gets melted. The Meteor Strike will be committed onto the high ground, but it connects onto Little. Tavik now moves in. The EMP will find itself onto the end of Linkser there, and it's going to get taken out almost immediately. Gigantti have to back off.
Zapis into the water once more, and again, the issue that you're seeing here for this offense from Gigantti is that they keep going for this approach on the right side. They're always at a disadvantage in terms of ult economy, pretty much this entire attack. And even when they have something like an EMP, they're not even able to capitalize on it. So across the board, this has been very tough for Gigantti, where they look a bit out of their element.
Well, you mentioned the ult usage and whatnot, but this is going to be the first fight where they are sitting at an ult advantage. They've got a sound barrier and an EMP to lead us in. This is their fight to win. As we see, damn it, he moves into the back. He has the pulse bomb, now the sound barrier, the EMP on top of it, just layering down these ultimates to try and basically find a kill or two, but they're not quite getting the damage done.
Well, Swoosh going down, this isn't bad right now. Gigantti, they're wounded, but no one's fallen yet. Fraggy, under pressure, kills Tavik with 1 HP remaining. That's big for Gigantti right now. But will it be enough? So far, they're only down Linkser. They have 5 people on the point. They are applying superior pressure. This is very good.
Absolutely. They've even got the Mega Health Pack hacked up as well, so they've got a constant source of healing as Zebasai has fallen. That's going to be so crucial to them winning this one. Now the EMP comes up by Gigantti. Shaz has built it up again so quickly. If they can bring down these players, which they do, Swoosh ends up falling mid-Primal Rage. They just need to find the follow-up.
And right now, the follow-through, we'll see if it's there. Logix, though, is unchained. He's back into the fight, and that can spell danger. We know what he's capable of in these situations. Gigantti, though, still working with a numerical advantage. 4 players still around on the point, but to Vic, a Dragon Blade is out. Slicing his way through, looking for anyone, and no! Shaz shuts him down. But Swoosh now offering Misfits some stability.
There's 2 seconds left. The overtime is ticking down. They need to get onto the point here, but already Misfits, they've got the spawn advantage. Davin, though, he wants to put in some work now. We see the Primal Rage going to be used by Fragger to try and lay them out of this point. They pick up 1 tick and counting. It's still going up and up and up. Tvik is weak. He swift strikes in the EMP, the sound barrier. It's connected. Both of them, all of them, absolutely everything at once. And we see this last-ditch effort. ZP Swoosh moves in, but it's too little, too late already. Will this be it?
It very well might be. Gigantti has regrouped. All 6 are alive. Lights might be turning out, but they like playing in the dark here, Bren, because they still have a dominant presence here on this point. Misfits, it's good stall. We're in overtime. Props to them, but Gigantti will finish it out.
I don't believe it, Maniton. He switched to the Mei. He switched to the Mei in the final moments, or a little bit beforehand, to try and stall it out, and they killed him before he could ice block onto the point. If he got that off, that could have been completely different. Gigantti could have potentially lost that. That is an incredible pick-off. Gigantti, in the nick of time, finding these picks, and they do manage to cap it, but they've got no time to work with.
So one thing that's easy to miss, because there was a lot going on and was off the main camera, but Fraggy was fighting Tvik off to the side. And Tvik had brought Fraggy down to about 50 HP, perhaps a little bit less. If Tvik was able to finish Fraggy there, that would have been a completely different fight, because what happened is that Fraggy was able to get healed up and stay in the fight for another minute or so and keep that momentum going forward for Gigantti. In an alternate universe where Fraggy isn't able to keep himself alive, Misfits probably pushes them out rather quickly, so that fight was decided on a very thin edge, just on the outskirts.
Yeah, I mean, if the time and the capture points don't really tell that story, then that definitely does. Now, as we're seeing, the side's going to be switched around. Misfits are on the attacking side for now, and Gigantti on the defense. Gigantti, as we'd expect, Shaz is going to be on that Sombra role, crucial in trying to get those last defenses. In fact, Shaz's own Sombra play in that last push attempt was incredibly potent as well, hacking off that mega health packs and just really denying a lot of healing from Misfits themselves.
So Misfits, let's reiterate, they have put themselves in a very good position here, where if they're able to finish out with 1 minute and 1 second left, they will almost certainly be able to take the map, or at least have a draw. So Gigantti, they need to come out with a pretty good defense here. Even if they don't have a great defense on first, they're going to need to draw out a lot of time on second, which means Misfits has a lot of room to make things work.
They do indeed here. And if they stick with this current composition, it'll be an interesting one, because instead of having Zupe on the Zenyatta, they've instead opted to put him on the Ana role. Now, that screams to me that the game plan for Misfits is probably going to be a rotation around the high ground. We'll see what they really choose to play here, and they might try and run Zupe against it. See them jumping onto the back attack. This is immediately going to be gone.
Misfits, they just go straight up the gut here, and for now, we'll see if it works out. Fraggy is going to fall early on. A big pickoff in the beginning. Fraggy was just a little bit too far out. 6 on 5, and Misfits, though spread out, they're not super deep diving. They're taking their time and just picking Gigantti apart. They're gonna full heal, and now they can go in again. Shaz already down.
This is intelligent play by Misfits, because you notice they're actually taking control of the Mega Health Pack room, which is hacked up currently. They're denying it by taking the positioning inside of it right now, which means that there's going to be no more EMP being built up for Shaz, even though he is already on 86%. This should be, with the follow-up kills, I mean, I'm saying this, but Zapis and Big Doos have got something else to say about it, putting in the damage, but no, definitely Misfits, with the follow-up kills that they're getting, will be able to claim this one.
The issue here is that I just imagine Gigantti in a hole right now, and they're just desperately trying to dig their way out, and even though they got up a few steps, it's really difficult to bring Volskaya back when you lose that many people early on, and true enough, Misfits will be taking this point, and they're in a really good position as they move on to point B.
Yeah, indeed. Gigantti have got the EMP to try and defend this one with. We're going pulse bomb, wants to go for the stick, does claim it onto Fraggy, but Fraggy is there, but the damage, the dive is definitely done, and it will be the main tank falling right now. That gives an opening. Logix is already playing the point here, ZP. They picked up 2 kills.
And they have 2 support ultimates as well. They're going to open up with the barrier. Now here's the nano boost and the blade to Vic, turning this into his own personal house of horrors. A triple kill for Tvik. And this is looking awfully easy right now for the Misfits.
Misfits are on fire, man. They are absolutely slamming it today. This entire team is looking so good. 6 minutes on the clock. And I mean, at this point, I mean, Gigantti, you got to be calling GG, I feel like, because they got to defend a single tick for 6 minutes. 6 minutes, man. If they do this, then straight up, I'll eat my suit jacket live on stream.
Okay, so let's just clarify a few things. It would be the most ridiculous, or at least one of the most ridiculous comebacks in Overwatch history if Gigantti somewhat held you. But I gotta say, Bren, offering to eat your suit jacket, you're just tempting the gods right now.
I'd love to see it, because I'll straight up, right here, right now,
Bren,
eat my suit jacket if this happens. Because 6 minutes to defend a single tick, it's so impossible. I'm confident in this bet.
Well, let's just note here, too, we were talking before the stream, and you told me in confidence that that is your best suit jacket right now.
It is, yeah.
So
yeah.
Let's just let you guys know the stakes here. Not only is Gigantti going to have a ridiculous defense, but if they do, Bren will not have to devour and ruin his best suit jacket. So if that won't make you a fan of Gigantti here, I don't know what will.
Come on, Misfits, you can do it.
Yeah, now you're feeling the pressure. You don't understand what you just put yourself in, Bren. No. You better look out.
I mean, 6 minutes, this is easily going to be doable. I mean, Gigantti, they've got to be playing out of their minds. You can see already, they put Shaz on the Sombra. Misfits going to be going with the exact same composition again. And I just realized another beauty of them running Ana, Zupe on the Ana, is that with the Biogrenade, they can deny the healing from the packs. Shaz won't be able to build up his EMP.
Well, Shaz is definitely going to have a standout game here and then some. Misfits with an utterly overwhelming advantage, so much so that Bren would wager his precious suit jacket on it. And Misfits, not much changing here, Bren. They are going straight up the gut here once more with the flankers on the sides.
And they want to try and take control of this mega half-tech area. As you can see already, look at that, Davin will fall. They've got complete control. Fraggy as well. They're all falling. Fall down, and that will be the tick rolling their way. Zappies is like the last man standing, and a sigh of relief from me as my suit jacket is safely outside of my stomach.
No, that sigh didn't come from you. That sigh actually came from your suit jacket. It's essential. I've had long discussions with it, and it's happy that it doesn't have to be devoured by you.
I'm not surprised. They're not made for eating, ZP. Contrary to popular belief, they're made for wearing.
Oh, you never know. Desert island, tough measures. I wouldn't blame you. But in any case, easy stuff there from Misfits.
Yeah.
6 minutes with 1 tick. That would have been ridiculous if Gigantti actually held.
And that means now Misfits, they've got the map win. Even if Gigantti win this next one, the only thing that's going to be determining is the playoff spot, getting that win or loss difference. And we see Davin. Davin was he was playing pretty well for Gigantti, you know, not well enough for them to win, but in the end, they do a decent amount of work.
Davin definitely has been showing good moments here on Tracer, but he has been up against one of the very best in the world in Logics, and that's a tough disparity to overcome, I would say.
Yeah, it is indeed, yeah. Especially when you're playing against Logics, who we've been rightfully labeling one of the best tracers in EU. You know, that man absolutely destroys on that role. But we have the next map. It's going to be Gibraltar. And this was Gigantti's pick again. And, you know, if you had told me, you know, a couple of months ago, a couple of weeks ago even, that Gigantti as a team, you know, back when they were Ninjas in Pajamas, were going to be picking Gibraltar, I would have said you're mental, because they've normally never been able. Okay, Dorado is the next map we've received. So a bit of an interesting one. In fact, that actually probably suits it better. Dorado being the next map means that tank compositions are going to be much more acceptable than Gibraltar.
Well, the key part there is that you can run things like a Reinhardt on first Dorado a lot more effectively than you can on first Gibraltar, where first Gibraltar, if you want to run a Reinhardt there, you basically have to cover in the server room, set up a picnic, pay some rent. That's where you have to hold there. Whereas
it's not great.
Dorado, you have more options if you did want to run a tank-heavy composition. Fraggy, of course, really comfortable with holding the first choke point and landing some good Earth Shadows as well.
Yeah, you can play quite aggressively as well with the different compositions on Dorado, which kind of suits, I guess, Gigantti's playstyle when it comes to the tanks. You know, Fraggy has always been known as the most aggressive Reinhardt almost in the scene. You know, 900 IQ charges and whatnot. We saw that in King's Row earlier on. But, I mean, essentially, out of all the map picks, I got to say, it does sort of favor them to a degree. But again, the way Misfits have been playing, it's almost, you know, I feel sorry for them that they have to play against Misfits here, because they're just destroying.
Misfits, though, they have incredible versatility. This is where Misfits maybe can dig a little bit deeper into their hero pool. This is where, for Dorado, you can have a different composition for the courtyard, and then you get to, say, the streets phase, and you decide to bring out a Pharah, bring out a Genji. There's multiple different compositions that are viable at each stage of Dorado. So, given that Misfits has historically prided itself on being a rather versatile team, it's not like this is a bad battleground for them. It's very good, in fact.
Yeah, absolutely. So, out of all the maps again, I mean, we said this before for Volskaya, out of all the maps for them to pick, Volskaya would be the one that Gigantti could have won. Dorado now, we're saying the same again. We'll soon see if that is true. But you never know. You know, with Misfits gaining this win already and playing just for essentially the playoff, the tiebreaker differential, maybe Misfits might relax a little bit. Maybe they might let a few rounds, a few kills slip by, and Gigantti might be able to secure a win. But the way they've been playing, the way Misfits have been performing, I gotta say, it's looking slim.
Bren, we've been remiss, by the way. We didn't mention something perhaps most important of all, which is that our analysts get a pass, and Puckett's curse is in fact stronger than them, because he said Gigantti would take the series.
Which is unusual. Maybe they've just passed it on to him, because before Puckett was like predicting everything. The analysts were just garbage.
Do you think they just like
they weren't predicting anything?
Did they give Puckett whatever illness that they had?
It must have been. Yeah, they must have just transferred it to him late at night. You know, some sort of ritual, possibly involving candles. Who knows? You know,
candles.
Maybe I'm just describing a late night romantic dinner.
Yeah, just some salt thrown around the room. Whatever. This is how you make Puckett make the wrong calls. But Misfits versus Gigantti here on Dorado. Both teams playing now for tiebreaker purposes. What are we seeing out of this defense here, Bren?
Okay, Misfits. The most interesting thing that sort of screams to me is the fact that they're not running a Lucio. Instead, they're going to be opting to put Zevasai on the Ana, which, again, sort of tells you that they want a more stable composition. Even though they've got the dive rolls, Zevasai on Ana works especially well, because the way Misfits like to play this first defense is they play super hyper-aggressive, and Zevasai can just provide the heals from long range.
Well, the interesting thing about this defense, too, is that they will have to hold their ground a little bit more. They don't have the speed boost to dive in when they sense weakness. Instead, they need to make it really difficult for Gigantti to even take a few steps forward. In any case, both teams are now trading out early poke. Misfits holding strong, but also holding a bit back.
You see Gigantti are opting to try and contest this high ground from the tanks, but I feel like that's the wrong call. You almost want to be putting all of your emphasis on trying to bring down Zevasai, because the man is just healing them over and over again. Now Linksa, he picks up that initial kill onto Logic, and that will, you know, create a chain of reactions almost where the follow-up kills are flowing in for them. So Gigantti, they're in a pretty good position now to start securing this one, but the stall is real here, ZP. They're just really not letting this cart move an inch.
They're stalling out, but the problem is that it's going to be the tanks that are the last to die here for Misfits, which means that even as their DPS and supports come back into the fight, they're going to have to wait for the Winston to dive in over the top, which means Gigantti's going to get more push here than Misfits would probably like. However, they do have a nano boost on the Misfits side, and that means Swoosh could be powerful even when not angry, Bren.
Yeah, that's what happens when you don't contest Zevasai, when he was just healing people up already. And Nano Boost is being built up. Let's see what they can do with it. Misfits are rotating around at the back lines. Transcendence going to be used by Zupe. Forced out by Lynx. So Lynx are now just going to be waiting, holding onto the Dragon Bait, and now he unleashes it. He wants to go for it, and he finds the triple off the back of it. No slowing down, full momentum, full speed ahead, and 5 minutes on the clock here for Gigantti.
One slice, 2 support kills. Lynxer's Blade tasting the blood it wanted there. And I guess a little bit of oil. There was a Zenyatta involved. Who knows what really powers him? But the interesting thing there is that even with Swoosh coming in with the nano boost, Lynxer didn't care. Just ignored it, went to the back, and got what he was looking for.
Lynxer played that perfectly, forcing out the Transcendence early with a Swift Strike into him, because, you know, Zupe had no choice but to try and utilize that. You see, we're rolling into the streets phase now as the first checkpoint was capped up. Gigantti, they've got Fraggy with his own Primal Rage. He can use that to create a bit of space, even a sound barrier to boot. Misfits, however, still have the high ground advantage moving into this next fight.
They're holding on the high ground right now. Gigantti eager to take it away. They do have a barrier they can invest here early on, but Davin going down. Oh, nope. Self-destruct removes that possibility. It is back to the spawn room for Gigantti.
2 picks, and that means Gigantti, it is reset time indeed. Now, I'm going to be looking at what is the next play here for Gigantti, because they do have things to work with here. They do have a sound barrier indeed, but again, this second checkpoint can be quite difficult to try and get value out of your sound barriers, because you've often got teammates that are playing the high ground, and they just won't be in the line of sight to actually connect onto it. So it is going to be a rough series of events for Gigantti to try and work out.
I think for Gigantti right now, they might be banking more on Blade into barrier. Lynxer's clearly poking out a little bit further, looking for the Blade, and now it's going to be up to Big Goose to set the stage, and then hopefully by that point, things have gone to the ground where Shaz can support them in the Transcendence. I think that's where Gigantti is thinking right now, as Davin on a little bit of a secret mission himself.
Man. That's some parkour if I've ever seen it. He's got the post bomb in hand. He's going to go for it. Not quite. Recalls away. They'll still traded evenly. Post bomb. Oh, Davin, man. Oh, that was so disappointing. He just did the slickest series of jumps I've seen and just zips the post bomb down.
I'm not disappointed in Davin there. I'm disappointed in Chaz, where 2 people were down and he threw the Transcendence into the fight. I don't know if it was a late call or what. Well, okay, Gigantti, now they're really trying to double down. They throw in the barrier. A bold move. Let's see if it pays off. All right, they are moving in deeper. Davin the Rampage, looking for the Zen, and Davin is pulling this one back.
Yeah, Logix is the real mischief in the back lines, though. He's stayed alive this entire fight, just causing all sorts of havoc. He will eventually just sort of be taken out of the equation just simply because the rest of his team is falling. Gigantti are doubling down on the supports. Definitely paid off in the short term, but what about now, ZP, in the long term, when they've got to contest this final checkpoint here with nothing realistically to work with other than the Dragon Blade?
So the gamble and aggression for Gigantti did work out. The problem now is that they're drained on support ultimates, which means even though Linkser would really love for this blade to do all sorts of work, the odds that it gets just vilified by the Transcendence might happen. But Zebulon's down early. This is not a bad opening.
He whipped out the Dragon Blade, and he will actually find that initial kill. The back of his self-destruct, not connecting onto anyone. Manhattan does get the mech back in for him still. Cart is going to be stopping for now, still being contested. Nice poke bomb by Davin. I'll get the D-mech out, and that's really actually quite important for them to try and contest this further.
It's a war of two tracers here, though, and Logix has done enough to really prevent Gigantti from getting a dominant position here on the point. And Davin, heroic and the stuff aside, gets knocked in the mouth by Logix in the end, and that will signal a full reset.
Here we have it. Misfits, like you mentioned, they're going to be on the defense here. And Gigantti, they've only got a minute 40 to try and push this one in. It'll be hard for them to try and really get done. Linkser falling quite low, forced to use the reflect. They almost come out to a Helix rocket there as well, the burst damage coming out, but looks like they are going to be opting for the complete wraparound play. And both their tanks playing under the cart.
So you do see them moving around here to the right. They are securing the high ground early on, but Big Goose wasn't within a time. And oh no, it's another late Transcendence here by Shaz. Not in time to save Big Goose. And this is the worst possible scenario right now for Gigantti. That couldn't have gone any worse.
That's actually terrible for them because Big Goose fell and Shaz tried to save him with the Transcendence, but all it ended up doing was, for one, wasting the Transcendence, and two, just reset the fight because you're not going to be able to fight in that engagement without your Lucio. Gigantti wasting that one ultimate, that could have turned things around for them. And now they've got to be waiting for Big Goose's own self-destruct. Not to say it's impossible, but it's going to be much more difficult.
Think about what this has done here, though. Now Zupe will probably have his Transcendence up in the next fight. Gigantti doesn't have one, period. And now Gigantti trying to bring the fight to Misfits. Linkser in the back, holding onto the blade, and Shaz is down in the beginning. Linkser, does he have what it takes here?
Oh, Logix just about narrowly escapes the Swift Strike. Recalls back, he's going to get healed up. Linkser is still holding onto his Dragon Blade. I noticed earlier he was trying to force out. Ooh, nice little Swift Strike melee combo there. Does bring down Logix, but is it going to be enough? 20 seconds, the players are falling, the reset is in action. Gigantti, are they going to be able to get onto this?
I mean, they can get onto the point, but they're going to have to drastically outplay Misfits here. Misfits can just layer in double support ultimates to nullify most of what Gigantti is going to throw in. Gigantti has to get a pick before the Misfits start going into their alt layering, or this is just about done. That's their only win condition here that makes any sense. And here comes the self-destruct over the top.
Self-destruct sent out, won't find a kill, but Linkser falls. He didn't get to use the Dragon Blade at all. He's going to be going down. The soundbite by Gigantti was committed. The pulse bomb by Davin to try and get the D-Mech and an action, but they're not finding the kills. Now the Transcendence, Misfits keeping their entire squad alive as Gigantti are desperately trying to rush straight onto the point to try and save their face.
We are in overtime right now, and Misfits powering onto the point, and yet Gigantti was able to disengage reasonably well enough. It's not great for them, but they do have the option of bringing this back. Davin working in and about, and here's the blade from Linkser. Moving in, fine swoosh, nice. And Gigantti, are they pulling themselves out of the fire here? Misfits had a huge advantage, and they might have just thrown this one away.
No, Manton's going to get a bit of stall time in it. Will Misfits have the opportunity to come back in with this defense? Who knows? Linkser was definitely paramount in that final moments, coming in late into it. You can see there's Logix creeping around the map. You can just see his outline briefly, but they are going to give this up. The checkpoint will be theirs, and Misfits instead opt to try and get the full hold here with only a minute 30 seconds, ZP, for them to try and get it done.
One thing I think hurt Misfits there is that they didn't perfectly layer their support ultimates. They sort of overlapped to an extent towards the end, and they also used it a little bit early. Gigantti wasn't entirely on the payload at the time, so I think Misfits had just held that out a little bit would have been better. But now we look at Gigantti. Davin into the back, looking to breathe new life into Gigantti as they have a minute left for last.
Indeed, they're looking for the right opening. Davin is poking and prodding, looking for a pulse bomb target, but he needs to be careful. He doesn't want to get it 8 now. Here we have it. The soundbar committed by Gigantti, looking for even more opportunities. Swoosh eating a ton of damage, but it's going to be Tvig, who is the first casualty in the end. Soundbar now committed. Not going to be finding kills, but Misfits look to prolong it out with their own soundbar.
Shaz is late with the Transcendence here. That should have come out in reaction to the barrier. Instead, Gigantti thrown back and thrown back to their spawn. The self-destruct connecting and ruining the fight for Gigantti.
I mean, they've got 25 seconds EP. Is this GG? Are we going to see a repeat of last time when they just couldn't get onto the car? What is going to be happening here? Because, I mean, 17 seconds. There is enough time for them to get on the cart, but any bodies they throw at, Misfits are going to be ready to just throw down and absolutely demolish them in the process. They have Shaz's Transcendence, and that might be the key to victory.
They need the Transcend somewhat earlier here, even though Zupe has a Transcendence of his own, and Linkser has to thread the needle and find a way of turning all those clumped up players into Dragon Blade victims. Gigantti right now, waiting for the opportunity, and that's really good for Linkser now. The Transcendence is out, he's still alive, and this will be his one to strike. He's heading in.
This is it, Dragon Blade in hand, finds one, Swift strikes down, finds the second one. This could be the opening they needed. Manaton now will most likely get teammates out of the following fight. We see Logic still trying to buy a bit of time as he zips into the back lines, but most likely will get brought down shortly. Indeed, he does for Shaz. They're rolling this forward, ZP, in the overtime.
Gigantti not out of the set, and Davin, do you have more? You should have more. Your Pulse Bomb is armed. People are coming out of the spawn doors, and yet Davin sticking with his team right now, not going for the aggressive Pulse Bomb pick. He's playing it safe, but I wonder if an opportunity right now is going to the wayside. There's the Pulse Bomb, does it connect? No, it does not.
They needed that pick, they needed it desperately. Swoosh has finished off Shaz to Vic with the tactical visor. Logix moves in with the Pulse Bomb of his own, and this should be it. This should be curtains. Gigantti surely cannot hold on here. Zap is last man standing. The overtime will burn, and they do manage to get 2 checkpoints, pushing it a fair way. But Misfits, from what we've seen of them, I mean, they're going to be laughing to the bank here. I mean, they are more than capable of pushing it all the way.
Actually, I'm going to have to disagree with you. They will be laughing past the bank. The bank is earlier in the map. They're laughing right to the power plant, if they have anything to say about it.
Is that a power plant? Is that what that final building's supposed to be? Isn't it a massive pyramid?
It's a pyramid, but it also makes power.
So there's one in the back, you see?
It's the Lumerico Corporation. They have all these pyramids everywhere.
It's fancy architecture.
They're a great company. They do the best public service. Yeah. I swear I'm not on the take.
Ah, okay. Secretly hired by Talon behind the scenes as a ZP. Is that what's happening here?
Well, listen, me and Lumerico Co, we go with that. But interestingly enough, when you take a look at this, is that this is holdable for Gigantti. Not every team is going to finish out Dorado, so they did buy themselves a little bit of hope with that final push.
Excellent plays. Now, Gigantti on the defense, look at this, opting for traditional tank compositions. This is what you come to expect, I think, from Gigantti when they're trying to hold this initial checkpoint. The downside of it is, if you don't get off a decent first hold and sort of stall off the momentum, it means that you can't realistically run the Reinhardt in the second stage. It's not as effective, simply because the amount of high ground you have to cover, but still, it is a big pickup for them. Fraggy on his signature Reinhardt. We've got Linkser on his own little Zarya, and Davin with the potential combo, the Pulse Bomb into the ground attack.
One thing that's going to be worth noting here when you look at the matchup between the two is that Gigantti definitely doesn't want to expend too much diving in. Even Davin, where, you know, Tracer likes going into the back, might have to hold a little bit further, and they need to contain to Vic and Logix, because Misfits, they're not doing anything crazy here. They're going to dive in with their Winston and have to Vic and Logix in on both flanks. Gigantti needs to use well-timed Zarya shields to neutralize that in the back.
Right now, Misfits, really, you can't say they've been using any gimmicks or anything to their advantage. They've just been playing good quality Overwatch, and that's what we've been seeing from them time and time again. And there's a reason why, I mean, my predictions for them now is going to be the #1 seed coming into EU. They are just playing out of their minds in a certain essence, and they're rotating the ults effectively. Seeing them now roll out here, ZP, as they're looking for the first openings past this checkpoint.
And this first archway is really important for Gigantti. They don't want the fight to go into the courtyard. They want to hold this here where the dive comp has a little bit more trouble, where the Reinhardt shield gets more value. Meanwhile, Tavik, he's going out the other way. He forges his own path. He's going to climb this wall to the back line, and, oh, well, they know about it. But this is still fine. They've split them off from the Reinhardt.
Yeah, they pushed all the way back because they could see that coming still. The heals are coming out for them. Shaz falling quite weak. Has to back off for the time being. Logix, he brings down Fraggy. That's an excellent opening with the main tank gone. This should be an easy point to take.
Well, everyone backed out away from Fraggy, and the people that are coming up the front just feasted on it. Fraggy was left to his own devices and got rocked. Now Misfits, good momentum coming forward here, and this is looking easy for them. The tank setup for Gigantti has failed, and now they're going back to normal as we all throw up on our keyboards. Oh, I'm dizzy.
Logic, he was disappointed with that one. I think he really does care about his Pulse Bomb statistics, because when he didn't get a single kill with that one, you could tell he was frustrated. He was just staring around the map, but here he is, working his magic. Rico steals the Mega Outpack from them. He's going to be backing off the rest of his team. Now, Misfits, 5 minutes. Momentum is in their favor. They're rolling this one forward, and Gigantti where is the positioning from them? Are they holding the high ground? I mean, we can't quite tell. They only just rotated to the top. And Gigantti, this is the trouble when you run these tank compositions, the Reinhardt, because you have to make switches for the second point. Fraggy has lost all ult advantage from that Earthshack.
Linkser, though, going to strike in first, finding Zupe. Misfits, though, that sound bear from Zebosai, not hitting many people at all. That seemingly was forced out. And Misfits actually getting caught a bit off guard as Gigantti take ball advantage.
Okay, well, it will be the successful defense. Manton, the reset is called. They have to get their way out of there. They want to go for swoosh. They want to try and bring him down, but the defense matrix from Manton far too strong just to soak up all of that damage. Now, Gigantti, what have they got? They've got the sound barrier. They can potentially use that to try and negate it, but they're going to need it for Tavik's Shadow, I was about to say Shadow Blade, his Dragon Blade, I should say. Now we'll see what they can do. Tavik, I mean, the game plan for Misfits right now is going to be probably to try and force out that sound barrier so Tavik can get a good blade off.
Well, there might not be shadows for Tavik, but he definitely dishes out burns. He's in the back right now, has the blade at the ready, gets poked down pretty easily here early on, but now gets healed up, and he's working towards a good blade, and there it is. The blade is in. Here goes Tavik.
Excellent stuff all around. He's looking for the opportunity. He's half HP. All of his team is just trying to back him up, but he is very weak. Has to back off for the time being. Might try and go for that kill onto Fraggy. Will claim it. Shooting Winston's out of the sky. Now Shaz, oh, some beautiful shurikens in the self-destruct will bring down Zappis. The kills flowing in. Misfits, they should be able to get this with ease.
Misfits right now playing this by the book. Very good ultimate economy coming out in terms of just using the support ultimate at the right time in reaction to what they're seeing from Gigantti. 4 minutes, 51 seconds left. Gigantti is going to need to have an absolutely insane defense to hold this for that long of a time.
Again, from what we've seen of Misfits, it's approaching the realms of impossibility, you know. They don't even have to complete the whole map at the end of the day, just have to push it a decent way. They've got 4.5 minutes to do it. You see that little yellow checkbox, that's exactly where they have to land this payload now. Gigantti, they've got Links with the Dragon Blade, and that could be their silver lining as they look to retake the high ground away from Misfits.
They do need Linkser to have a play above his pay grade right now, just to give them some stability. This would be the time for it, and now he goes in. Linkser dives in, finds Zebosai, looking for more. Getting somewhat stymied here in the corner, and Gigantti, not super clean, but they are getting what they need. Misfits will find themselves thrown out.
Yeah, the reset call is made. Logic's going to be backing off to the rest of his team now. Still a decent amount of time on the board. 4 minutes that Misfits have got to work with here. Shaz, he has his own Transcendence to try and negate the next push, the next support ult. But realistically, what can they do against both Logix and Tavik? Tavik already with the Dragon Blade once again.
And Misfits, they are playing with all the time in the world right now. Also house money as they've already won the series. But they would like to finish things out on a clean 4-0. Logix, you gotta think he just wants to blink right in, drop the pulse bomb. A little bit razzle-dazzle from one side to the other. Just special delivery, doesn't connect.
Yeah, did actually get ate up by the defense matrix there.
Might have.
Zebosai ends up getting the kill onto Shaz as well, and this is so good by Misfits. They're rolling straight through them. Tavik committing the Dragon Blade will finally get the DMAC down to Zappis, and Zappis will fall as a result. Now, the car moving forward here, ZP, 3 minutes on the clock. I mean, Gigantti, they've got a Transcendence to stall this out, but realistically, what can they do?
Well, right now, they need to open the Transcendence and hope that that's enough here early on to buy themselves some breathing room. Misfits, though, well healed up on the point, but Zupe going down early. That's not bad opening here, and now Shaz can drop the Transcendence.
The trouble is now, Misfits are just going to be baiting them out, and as they wait for the Transcendence to fade, now is go time. Tavik, he realizes it. He goes in, the Reflect is out, puts in a decent amount of damage, has to back off for the health pack in the end to get healed back up, and now he's looking for more. Logix, meanwhile, definitely putting in the damage. Tavik, once again, strikes back, gets a double kill off the back of it, and now Gigantti, Fraggy desperately trying to stall this one out with the Primal Rage.
A lesser team might have gone for the reset, but Misfits just backed out a little bit and went back in. Big Goose barriering only himself here towards the end. That's how desperate things are for Gigantti as the Misfits in a prime winning position. The yellow box of victory in front of them, and they look almost unstoppable right now. Though Davin, hurting their tank line, might help Gigantti here.
Depending on how many kills, no, not quite. I thought the self-destruct, if he got a pick up, that could have been changed around. Fraggy ended up backing off for the heals, but again, he's incredibly weak. Once again, he has to back off out of here. And Misfits, they do reset. That is surprising, given how weak Zappis and Fraggy were.
It was Davin who was able to bring that back. He isolated the problem, but was giving Misfits a lot of space, which was Swoosh and Manitin. Got both of them out of the fight effectively, and that was the breathing room that Gigantti needed to re-establish themselves here. Now, Bren, a minute 30 left. they've come close to this defense. This started at 4 minutes.
This is 100% doable now for Gigantti because they built up this ult advantage down in with the pulse bomb. However, Lings are falling. That's not great for him. Fraggy might be next. He's eating so much damage. In fact, he whipped his jump as well, so now he's trapped like a monkey in a cage against the wall. He will fall to Logix, and with the rest of these kills flowing in, I'd be very shocked to see if Misfits do not just clean this out now with a very clean sweep.
They're moving it in. Everything going the way of Misfits to Vic's Blade, sated at the very end. And that will be the Misfits rolling it in leisurely and finishing out the series 4-0.
Really, really great stuff by Misfits because Gigantti, this was one of the matches that I thought was going to be most competitive, most close between the two teams, but it seems like Gigantti from the previous performance, you know, whilst they are a fantastic team, quite not on the level of Misfits just yet. In fact, really all this does is cement in my mind the fact that Misfits are probably going to be the #1 seed, I should say, coming into the playoff spot.
Misfits has been playing very well since the roster changes, and again, to me, the biggest thing is not to undertake anything or underrate what Swoosh has been doing, but Logix has really freed up to Vic here, where you have a true double threat going on that so far other teams in EU have not been able to deal with effectively at all.
I think Swoosh, being an ex-Genji player and putting him onto the Winston, is actually huge for Misfits because the whole time he's just been playing out of his mind. He knows exactly when to initiate in with the rest of his team. Really fantastic stuff.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us here today in EU. And to break down that last series,